Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fire Up with CJ show. Today, we're going to be talking about addictions, particularly your sugar addiction, or at least I should say my sugar addiction. And if you are similar and have a sugar and carb addiction, how you get rid of it. And we have expert author Rena Greenberg, who is going to be talking about her book, Easy Sugar Breakup: Break the Habits and Addictions That Control You. So, welcome, Rena.
Thank you, CJ. It's great to be here.
So I'm a victim of this. I've tried many times, and the only thing that sort of has worked is to do a cleanse where I
Uh-huh.
just don't eat any sugar or carbs for 2 weeks, and that seems to do the trick.
Yeah.
Um, does that work for most people? Is that kind of a what do most people do?
Well, the thing is, the more it's in our bloodstream, the more we're going to crave it, the more we're going to want it. So I think your method, obviously, as you've discovered for yourself, and the issue is, is it enough for your health just to stop for 2 weeks, 2 weeks at a time, and then it sounds like I'm not sure if you go back to your old way of eating. For some people, as long as they're eating sugar in moderation and they've got a lot of other healthy habits, it's not really an issue. But for many of us, consuming sugar is actually completely eroding the quality of our physical health, our mental health, our emotional health, even our spiritual connection. It
Hmm.
can be a huge problem. And that's really my audience. If it's not a problem, you don't need to fix it. But for many of us, it is.
Yeah, it's um, this morning I woke up at 8 and I've done 10-mile hike so far. And I'm training for the Camino, and I have no idea what the food is going to be like, but I eat pretty clean. And I thought, what happens if I'm starving and there's a granola bar with corn syrup? Like, do I eat it? Because it's like it's like taking that heroin, like you just the minute you take it or you eat carbs, a white carb, like I'm on. I don't know. Is that a fear, an unwarranted fear, or is it like yes? You said you made the caveat of
Right.
moderate eating of this. When you eat pretty clean, how much of this sugar and carbs can you take before being an addict again?
Right. Well, look, the reality is, CJ, most people are not hiking 10 miles a day. So
Yeah.
we don't have that, in our pocket. And for many of us, we're leading very sedentary lives. And even though, people are trying to be healthier, they're trying to increase their steps and all of that, the issue is that a lot of times it's these factors are all kind of compounding. So it's the
Mm,
sedentary lifestyle, it's sitting at the computer so that our necks are tight or on the phone all the time.
mm-hmm.
And then it's continuously putting garbage into our bodies, for so many of us. So, an occasional granola bar here or there, and which also probably has some healthy ingredients too, sounds like for you isn't really a major problem. But for myself and how I got into the field where I've literally helped thousands of people to lose weight and cut free, break free from cravings and addictions. I know what it's like. I have a very, very addictive personality. So I wouldn't even have to ask the question, like, what happens if I eat a granola bar? Am I going to be derailed? The answer would automatically be yes, because what would happen is I would start to have cravings. And, one granola bar would equal, one again the next day and the next day and the next day. And, then wanting to drink more and all these things because they're all kind of tied in together.
Hmm. And I actually have the same thing. That's why I don't even want to start one because one equals every day. My guilty sin is dark chocolate almonds, and so I eat one, and then all of a sudden I eat three, and all of a sudden I've eaten six. All of a sudden I've eaten 12, and now I do it every day, and so that's one of those things that I would like to cut out of my life because it's probably not really all that good for me. It has almonds are good, dark chocolate is good, but really you don't need to eat dark chocolate almonds every
Well,
day.
you know what it is? It's like worst, bad, good, better, best. So
Right.
of course, back when we were eating, Dorito, whatever, like ice cream every day and Cheetos and fast food and pure garbage. Obviously, when we move into yogurt covered or dark chocolate covered almonds, we're better. And I actually remember going through that phase.
Yeah.
But I also realized I went through a phase where I was really fooling myself because I
Mm.
was thinking, oh, well, this is pretty healthy, especially when I did the yogurt
Mhm.
covered, almonds. But oh boy, I mean, when you're an addict, when someone's talking to you and you're thinking, when am I going to get another chocolate covered omelet? You know,
Right.
because you're
Oh, I am addicted to those things, and I have trigger foods. I mean, that's one of. I never actually had an addiction to dark chocolate until a girlfriend of mine's like, "I'm addicted to it," and then I tried it, and then I became addicted. I'm like, "Oh my God!" All right. So someone just asked, "Why?" Sally asked, "Why is granola bad for us?" It's not that granola is bad, but oftentimes, like the ones that are actually they have a lot of sugar. If you look at the grams of sugar, it's usually 12 grams of sugar in granola. The oats are not a problem.
yeah, exactly. Oh, but they put dates, and a lot of people think, if you Google dates, you're going to find all this nutrition. It's true, but if you're sensitive to sugar, and for a lot of people, the telltale sign is, look, do you have diabetes in your family? Parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters. If you have blood sugar issues, if you're prone to addiction, and
Right.
it's interesting. You were saying you really didn't care about dark chocolate. I was the same. I would go from one addiction to another. So when I lived in New York, I'd go to all the happy hours. I used to drink.
Yeah.
One day I decided to quit drinking. I thought it'd be hard. I mean, I drank every day,
Yeah.
socially. It wasn't even hard because I went right. I stopped immediately and I just substituted something else.
Oh.
And I went like that from what actually was coffee. And I was drinking
Uh,
like a pot of coffee a day. And then I would just, drink a pot of coffee and go dancing. And I thought, well, at least I'm not drinking alcohol. It took a few years, to go from one to the other until I realized I am so addictive. I really have to stick with just clean food. And it's not that I'm doing it to be a good girl, it's the quality of life that I want. I want to be
mm,
free.
yeah. Okay, got it. And then someone also asked about yogurt covered raisins, and it's not. It's the yogurt has a lot of sugar to make it taste good, and raisins are actually, it's a natural sugar, but
Yeah,
still a sugar. And
it is. And sometimes we can have some of these healthier sugars in moderation, as opposed to, if we're eating whatever frosted flakes, probably wouldn't be good to even have those in moderation.
right.
But if we're having, like yogurt, maybe some of us can. But really, my point is, we don't want to start lying to ourselves. We want to be honest with ourselves. We want to really trust ourselves and begin to really know what's true for us
Yeah.
instead of running away from it.
I like the way that you're describing because you said there's lots of different forms. Like I would say, I'm I have certain trigger foods in which I like binge. I can't stop eating, and
Yeah.
then there's also the thing that you mentioned, which I'm like, yeah, that sounds familiar. Like I'll stop drinking, but then all of a sudden drinking a lot of coffee, So it's like a you just replace one for another kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
think what are the other ways in which people like, oh, I'm not addicted to sugar, but you're like, if you do this, actually you kind of are. What are some of the other examples?
Well, it's unbelievable. Some of the, I learned so much from my clients, but it's interesting. Like, for example, several of my clients, I mean, they don't volunteer this in the first 5 minutes, but as
Right.
we talk, we start to see, they're actually, I mean, it's interesting. They might not have thought of it before, but it'll come down to they're actually waiting for their spouse to leave the house so that they can go to their little stash. Or at night, everyone go to bed, and they'll think of it as, well, this is my me time. But it's really helpful, I think, to reframe once you do become aware that you're a bit of an addict,
Mhm.
to reframe it and realize, wait a second, there's nothing wrong with me time, but is this me time really helping me to achieve my highest aspiration for myself and my precious holy life? Or is it moving me away from my goals? Could it
Mm.
be contributing to depression, anxiety, or
Mm.
weight? A lot of times we're choosing these foods because we think they're helping us, relieving us of depression, anxiety, or the problems in our life. But in reality, we can look and realize, what? They're actually making my problems worse. They're actually preventing intimacy with
Mm.
in my closest
Right,
relationships.
especially if you're hoarding stuff in the end when your husband walks, you're like, "Hey, sweet dreams," you're like going to the snack drawer, jamming Doritos in your face.
Exactly.
Because you feel like so that would be really interesting. Well, then that would be very hard. I can see how that would be feeding into it. And I think one of the things that you mentioned in your book is that it's a lot about your mind and how your mind plays into it. And so that example of me time,
Yes.
I even had a nutritionist, and I'm still. She said, what happens when you eat the sugar or the carbs is it has like a little dopamine hit. So you have a pleasurable experience. So that's why you get addicted because it's like, bing, oh, that feels good. I feel happy for the moment. And she
Right.
said some days that's all you can fit in a day is to eat your little treat and just really enjoy it when you're doing it. And I'm still not 100% certain what I believe in that. What's your perspective on that?
It's a great question. And some people will say, well, if I eliminate something completely, then I'm going to be deprived. I'm going to want it more.
Hmm.
So I'm all for everything in moderation. However, when something is a trigger, meaning it's absolute poison for us, then why would we have any of it, in
Right.
moderation? So, and my book, as you know, is called Easy Sugar Breakup. And I love the analogy of an actual breakup.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of people say that too. Well, we're breaking up because we know, me and my partner, we're breaking up because it's not working out. But then it's like, well, but we're still friends. Now, for some people, that'll work out. And for other people, they realize it's impossible, at least in the beginning, to just be friends, especially when there are still a lot of romantic feelings. So
Mm.
it's similar when we are actually addicted to something. How are we going to just be friends, meaning having it once in a while? Because as soon as we have it, we fall right back. It's as if, let's say we go 10 steps forward, now we go 12 steps back.
Right.
And so it's not good, bad, right, wrong. It's all what's the result we want in our life. And for me, the number one thing I'm selling is freedom. I
Right.
I know what it's like to be addicted. I know what it's like to be free. And
Hmm.
my passion is to help people find that freedom. And I love hearing back from people when they come back to me and they say, because a lot of times it's fear speaking, like, well, can I have a Diet Coke like once a week? And I never say no. It's always, well, follow these strategies and see what happens. People come back and they say, I can't believe it. I don't even want it. I don't miss it. And it really becomes like the old boyfriend or girlfriend. You were afraid to break up because you were holding on out of fear. Once you let go, you realize, oh my God, my whole life opened up. I don't miss
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so it's so the moderation, what I mean, and I know that moderation is like, what's moderation? And I'm sure that it kind of depends on the person, but do you have some heuristics or rules of thumb on what moderation looks like? And I've had those instances where I literally eat some. A friend of mine who eats super clean. He's a vegetarian, and he went running, and he had a big Coke afterwards, and he said his body literally convulsed it out. He threw up all. It's like it was a trajectory of Coke vomit because his body just couldn't take the sugar and the
Right.
chemicals. It just literally got it out of his body. And so
Yeah.
and that's how I feel like there's certain things that I used to love and I'm like, "Oh, it tastes disgusting. Like I can't even eat this anymore." So I get that part. But what if the thing like mine is Tom Douglas's coconut cream pie, like that will get me every single time. But I literally can eat it and I actually feel sick while I'm eating it, but I can't stop eating it.
Yeah.
So
So,
what's moderation look like and
well,
how does one know when they've gone too far?
yeah, I think we know because we really this is the beauty about what I teach is kind of self hypnosis. That's what I'm
Hmm.
calling it. Kind of we go inside, we start to connect with the body, and we really start to feel. It's almost like feeling that balance. So we're eating, let's say, our protein, then our veggies, and then the complex carb, the healthy fat. We start to really train our body to be in balance. And just like your friend, then when we put something in that just throws us because we're no longer in balance. In fact, in that case, we're like way out. Now, if we had something, let's say something that you don't eat on every day, but each of us, of course, we want to find what our own healthy treats are.
Right.
So for me, it might even be like a piece of fruit that I wouldn't normally eat because even fruit, even though it's so healthy, can be very sweet. But
Hmm.
I'll know just that spot where I can have just this much. So I'll go on like a long bike ride with my husband. We'll split a grapefruit, and that grapefruit will taste so sweet to me. I used to eat ice cream 2, 3 times a day. Well, of
Right.
course, I haven't
Wow.
had it for decades. I know it's crazy. I haven't had it for decades, but now I will enjoy that grapefruit. I'd have to say, as much as I used to enjoy that ice cream,
Wow.
I really just have it like after the bike ride. So once in a while, and it's perfect. It's fine. Or I have actually on my blog I have healthy cookie recipe and I'll make that, and I will put actually sweeten it with either with dried fruit, but it's something that if I just have one, I'm okay. If
Okay.
I have too many, I would feel out of balance. So you start to really feel your body.
Okay. So how you know moderation is once you're clean, you'll eat it and go like, oh no, this doesn't feel good. So it's more of a personal sensory thing. How do you feel after you eat this? Are you like, it's pretty clear when you projectile vomit Coke, like that's not good for you. Even when I was eating the coconut cream pie, which is delicious, I could feel like I'm actually feeling nauseous and I should stop even though I shouldn't. But my body was giving me clues like this is not good. So you're saying listen to your body as a clue. So if you eat it and you're like, oh, this tastes super sweet, don't just keep on like, okay, it's super sweet, but I'll get used to it. Like that's
Right.
what I'm hearing you say, moderation.
The key, CJ, is really connecting to your goals in your life. So, like for you, you're walking a lot, you're exercising all the time, you're probably building up quite an appetite because you're
Yeah.
burning a lot of calories, even though I'm not like thinking counting calories, but you just, you need more food.
I'm training for an event. I don't normally walk 9 miles, but I'm training for an event where I'm going to walk 12 miles every day. So I'm doing that now. Just right now,
So,
I am.
yeah, the Camino Real,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That's so cool. Yeah. But for so many people, I mean, you're not my typical client. Like the
No.
reality is someone like you probably wouldn't come to me because I specialize in weight loss and I really want to help people who seriously, are tried everything. They've been on every diet, and they're really struggling with carbon sugar addiction.
Oh, I've
So
been
then,
there. I've been there too. But I think I would be your client. But go ahead.
possibly, okay. So the key would be, okay, what's your motivation? Like, how do you want your life to be? And then when you realize that your behaviors, in this case, the foods that you're eating, are not matching your goals, it's a lot easier to, once we start to develop more awareness about what we're doing and why we're doing it, really looking at what is my deepest need here? Like, what am I really needing? What am I seeking? Because for many of us, of course, we're seeking love, comfort, or even to bring down the level of stress and to feel more inner peace. And so we're just doing the habitual behavior, what we've always done. As kids, when we were upset, we were crying, mom and dad or a caretaker would always give us, that cookie, that lollipop.
Right.
So it's something that we're conditioned. But the good news is with the hypnosis, what I train people is that we can actually change that programming, change that conditioning so that we have a completely new normal. It's
Right.
not like, oh my God, I shouldn't eat that. Oh, feel all kinds of, guilt about it. It's that we've evolved. We don't want it anymore.
Okay, so we have a bunch of questions that have been coming in as we've been talking. So, and I want to use dark chocolate almonds as my trigger. Maybe you can actually. So, someone asked, Delia had asked what a trigger food is, and that's something that you can't eat one. You eat one, and then you eat two, and you can't literally stop. Like how they used to say that with Lay's potato chips, you can't eat one. That's a trigger. And different people, like a friend of mine has that with apples. I have that with bonito chips, like anything crunchy, salty, whatever.
Yeah.
And I have that with dark chocolate almonds. And Bunny had asked, so what if we can't get everyone in the house on board, which I think is always a problem when you like, let's say like I'm going to stop eating sugar, but I have my little kids who love to have their juice boxes and whatever. What do you do in those cases?
That is such a great question, Bunny.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been through it. I have a husband.
Mm-hmm.
I have two daughters, and I'll be honest, they don't eat like me, and I don't care. It's not like it's like a religion, it's not, or anything that you have to enforce on anyone else. When you connect with your body and what your body needs, what you're able to disconnect from what everyone else is doing. In other words, it doesn't matter. So often we think food
Mm,
is. I remember for years I'd always think, oh, friends are coming over, let's get the pizza, and it was like
yeah.
going to be fun.
Fun. Right.
But when you reframe, and even if you order that pizza and you look at it like, I don't want it, but you don't have to talk about it. That's the thing. So often when we're dieting, it's like, oh, that has to become the conversation. Like, oh,
Right.
I can't eat that. But when you feel confident inside, it's sort of like if you walked into a room and everyone was smoking big, thick cigars.
Right.
And let's say they're people you love, so you want to
Yeah.
stay in the room.
Yeah.
It's just not going to partake. But you'd be
Yeah.
like, no, you go ahead. If you
Right.
enjoy it, it's fine. And you're just there to take care of your own needs. So some of the things you want to make sure is, are you hungry? So
Right.
always know what you're going to eat. It's like kind of like you put the mask on first. So with my kids, if I was going to order, let's say, I mean, of course I wanted them to eat healthy, but I didn't want to restrict them either
Right.
because people are too restricted. And it's actually worked out really well because now they are getting to be young adults and they do eat a lot. They do eat healthy.
That's exactly what happened with my kids. So I have kind of a funny story. There are these twins that they only ate vegetarian, and the mother never gave them any sugar, nothing. Like they were ate super clean, and they're like hiking outdoor types. I mean, in Seattle, this is kind of the very typical. And so her kids went to a private school where during lunch they had a free soda machine so that the kids could get anything that they wanted. And those kids who never had sugar had Cokes every single. They were just addicted to these things, and they ate all the sugar, and they felt all because they just were deprived so much from these things when they were little. Even though all their friends were having it, so by the time they were in middle school, they just went overboard. Or when Halloween came, they went crazy. So I mean, it goes back to the moderation because in some ways,
Right.
what happens when you deprive, I mean, that's what I see as a deprivation that
Well,
happens.
here's what I do with my kids, which I think is a great tip, especially if your kids are younger. You
Yeah.
got to start young. So my kids would say to me, I guess we kind of trained them to,
Yeah.
Can I have a cookie? And I
Right.
would always answer. I wouldn't say yes or no. I'd say, don't ask me. I say, ask your body. What does your body want right now? And it's amazing. You would think that they'd say, oh, my body wants,
Yeah.
cookies,
Hot fudge
candy.
sundae. Yeah.
My kids would go like this. And they'd stay like, inside. And then they'd come back, they'd go, my body says that I should have one carrot and one cookie would be all right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, your kids are really well trained. My
They,
kids would be like, yeah, they're saying cookie. But what's interesting is my kids, I've never restricted, like, I restricted their diet. Like, I've told them, like, this is healthy, this is not healthy. And my husband and I eat super clean, pretty healthy. And they've seen us eating this way. And even though they may be eating mac and cheese and all these other things, so I didn't want to deprive them. And now that they're older, they are eating healthy. Like I never said anything. I mean, I didn't say you need to eat healthy now that you're older. They're both teenagers now, and they
yeah,
eat healthy. And then when they're like, I can't believe I even drank Coke. It's disgusting. And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I know, I told you. And they're like, oh, I just didn't know. But like they wanted to do it because all their friends were doing it. But then if they see you role modeling healthy choices, they end up electing those healthy choices, which I find interesting.
It is, yeah. I mean, well, we always heard that, right? Children and people follow not what you say, but what you do. It's what you're
Yeah.
modeling. You know,
Yes.
that's
All
why I
right.
was clients, don't talk about that you're on a diet. Like, just don't make a big deal of it because then people are going to say, oh no, you look great the way you are, or they're
Right.
going to, oh, come on, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
This way, just it's private, and you can just say, oh no, thanks, and just turn the conversation to their favorite topic themselves. And just
Right.
and people are going to let it go,
Yeah.
and then yeah,
Yeah, they do. I think actually once you say, "Oh no, thanks," like, "Do you want a drink?" I'm like, "No, thanks, I'm good," or like, I'm not drinking tonight." And people don't. They don't really kind of like, "Come on,"
oh, but
party
that's a
killer, huh?
oh, I can tell you how it's a fear. Many of my clients are concerned when they first come to me. They say, "Oh, I wine and dine my clients. I have an expense account." And I'm like, "Good, because healthy food's expensive." So, when you go to those restaurants, get that nice salmon with the
Exactly.
salad,
Right.
extra veggies.
Right. That's funny. Okay, so I want to go back to, um, all right, so let's see. I have dark chocolate almonds. How do I use NLP and self hypnosis and relaxation? So let's actually break it down because I'm going to say some of the things, I'm going to repeat some of the things I think you've already said. Dark chocolate almonds, you're saying, what need does that serve? So at the end of the day, I'm like, I've had a really long, hard day. This is a fun little treat. So, what I'm really trying to do is have a fun little treat. And at the same time, if you look at my life as a coach, one of my high values right now, I'm going to be an empty nester soon, is freedom. So, it really resonated to the thing that you said about like, this gives me freedom. So, here I am, dark chocolate almond moment, want some fun treat because I've had a long, hard day and I've walked 12 miles and I've earned it and whatever. And then I have freedom. So, how would I knit this together in a hypnosis or relaxation? How would I work with my mind in this case?
Well, the important thing to realize is that the mind thinks in pictures. It
Mm,
just does. So a lot of people are concerned, initially first of all, people think I can't be hypnotized. And then I'll always, really, I'd like to remind people that we're already hypnotized.
right.
We're being hypnotized all the time by the media, by politicians, of course, the food industry, the advertising industry. And what they're doing, what I mean by that is they are actually sort of installing within us, pictures and words, suggestion. So we are very, very susceptible to the power of suggestion. And before we do anything, subconsciously, there's a movie that runs through our mind. So before you walk into your house and let's say sit down on the couch or go into the kitchen and look for those chocolate covered almonds, before you ever do that, a movie runs through your mind. And then there's a feeling of that'll be good. Like
Okay, yeah.
almost
So mine is like it's the end of the day. I'm about to retire. This is my little treat before I head up to bed. That's my movie.
right. So the movie would be I deserve it,
Right.
right? I deserve it. It's going to make me feel good and I want it. Now, here's the other piece to that. You are physically craving it because you had it yesterday.
Yes, that's true.
So it's a physical thing too, and we have to realize that. So it's connected. So a lot of times we don't realize. Like for example, we'll have it tonight, and
Right.
we'll say, "I'm doing this today, but I'm going to stop. I'm starting the diet
Tomorrow I'm
Monday.
not going to do it. Yeah.
I'm not going to do it." But what we don't realize is the way the human psyche works is everything we do today. The reason we're doing it, or 99%, is because we did it yesterday.
Mm,
You don't see it in yourself, observe other people. They are repeating the same word. Many people, they're repeating the same phrases, the same actions, and we are too.
right.
So that's the first step, is to realize the habitual / addictive nature of what we're doing. The second thing is to start to ask ourselves, what am I really wanting? What am I really wanting? You said freedom. I'm wanting freedom.
Right.
So then we can use the picture. So the question was, how do I use hypnosis and NLP? Hypnosis and NLP is all about creating new imagery.
Right.
And it's not cookie cutter. So we need to discover what's the imagery that'll work for you. Right now, the image in your mind is, I'm going to eat that and I'm going to feel good.
Right.
I'm going to go up. I'm going to relax in bed. But what if the image was, I'm going to eat that and I'm going to feel so gross, and we even exaggerate it, or I'm going to blow up, I'm going to get bloated, I'm going to feel bad, or fast forward in time to the moment when we really do feel bad.
Right.
So let's have the chocolate covered almonds. You feel, oh, that was good. You go up to bed, you still feel okay. But, and I don't know if I'm just making this up.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
just
this
say,
is good. Perfect. So I'm like, okay, I'm imagining like I'm eating this dark chocolate almond as if I'm imagining, maybe this is not good, but I'm imagining like this dark almond, chocolate almond has control of all my habits now. It's kind of like, I guess I've got you.
that's it. I love that. I love that image. You're in your kitchen and let's say no one else is around and it is your me moment, like this
Yeah.
is, I'm giving myself. And you're thinking, so you're doing a little song inside going, I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm free. And I love the image of the food industry all around you with a great big net going, shh.
Yeah, gotcha, sugar.
Yay.
A little like, I just see this like white sugar cube dancing around like, ha, got you. You're not free. Ha. Okay.
Exactly. And also fast forward, maybe in the morning. I know if I've eaten something the night before and it was off, I wake up with feels like a piece of lead in my stomach. Yeah. Fast forward to that, and then create a new mental movie of, let's say, having a healthier snack, whatever that might be, maybe almonds with no chocolate cover, but just a few almonds, chewing them slowly, appreciating every bite, and waking up in the morning feeling great, feeling alive.
Right. Okay.
And in control.
Okay, got it. So I can have like alternative images, but basically coming up with, I've never, because neurolinguistic programming, of which I've trained when, I've never thought about using it to have associate negative imagery, but actually I've had hypnosis where people will say, okay, so you're getting there and you'll think, oh, I'm interested in a joyful experience. And so give that to yourself at that moment, like give yourself a hug or whatever it is that you need. I've seen that. I've never heard of actually then creating like a traumatic experience from eating this by having, it's interesting. Yeah. Okay. So that's how you would use it.
Right. Well, that's one way. I mean, we're always moving towards pleasure. We're always moving away from pain. Right. So of course I create positive images, but I hate to admit this, but sometimes we're much more motivated by the negative. So sometimes we would rather avoid blowing up and being, let's say, whatever, a size 16 than we even care about becoming a size 2. Like sometimes here. So it's not about creating like a negative image. It's getting in touch with the fact that this negativity already exists.
Right.
I mean, so for example, I said, let's say you wake up in the morning and you already feel bad. All I'm saying is remember that,
Right.
really.
No, I do because it is good because I actually went to my other trigger food is chips. Any kind of like, oh, it's salsa and chips. This is fun time in Mexico. This is what we do when we're in Mexico. And so I have this like, those chips are kind of like, oh, this is fun, relaxing, chill time. And so I ate these chips and I've never felt so ill. The next morning, I thought my stomach was like just so unhappy. And so remembering when I see chip, I'm like, oh yeah. This also was like you in incredible pain. Like it hurt because eating these chips because my stomach was just so unhappy eating those many chips. So it's like remembering that, like, remember
You're not.
this, CJ. Next time you're about to grab some chips, remember this moment where you're feeling sick. Actually, after I ate the Tom Douglas cream pie, I actually got sick. I literally threw up in the toilet because my body could not eat the whole pie. And so it's like, do you remember this? Maybe you should. I'm not remembering those moments. I still forget. I somehow block out those bad memories and only remember the good ones. But I
Yeah.
like the idea of like, okay, remember this now. Remember this the next time you grab the chip. Chip
Right.
equals stomach ache.
Yeah, but think about the same analogy of breaking up with a partner because it's just
Yeah.
perfect. So you have to see your partner's really good looking. So
Yeah.
at first you want to break up. Oh my God, they're so
Yeah.
sexy, or they're so handsome, beautiful, whatever. But let's say that person has some really dark qualities. You get to the point where you have to remind yourself of their dark qualities rather than being sucked in by their charm, their charisma, their good looks, or whatever other assets they have.
Yep.
Because obviously, the whole reason you want to break up is because their darkness or their shortcomings outweigh all their assets. Because it's not really always black and white. It's not like someone's all good or all bad. It's all
Yeah.
about what we want in our life.
Right.
So someone's a cheat, a liar, or we realize that's not going to work,
Right.
but they might be gorgeous and they might know how to sweet talk us and all that. So it's the same thing with anything we want to break free from. If we don't remember the negative, we're going to fall into that same pothole over
Right.
and over because and the food industry, they're spending billions of dollars to make all these foods look good, smell good,
Right.
you
Have
know.
positive memories next to them, like all these kinds of things. It's interesting that I can't remember what it's called, but our brain, when you're saying like I don't know why, like think about the negative, but someone was it was a book by Rick Hansen, and he was this person who's a neuroscientist, and he said that something like we're like a negative. The brain has this thing called the negativity responder, but we are far more willing to act when we feel like our survival is at odds than we are when something good is happening. So if you're a caveman and you turn the corner and you see a bear next to the stream, guess what? You're not going near the stream. But if there you find like next to the rock there's blueberries, you may forget the blueberries, but you will remember the bear. So it's something our brains are kind of hard coded to remember certain things and not others. And so I think that that's why, like, if you paint a somewhat bleak picture, our brains are going to remember that a little bit more. I never thought of it until just now with thinking about neurolinguistic programming and that. But so, what kind of hypnosis do you give people? Is there one that you offer or suggest, or can you lead our listeners to a hypnosis at this juncture?
Well, I tell you what I'm most really known for is gastric bypass hypnosis, which
Yes,
has
I
been
saw
really,
that. So, tell me what that is.
yeah. Well, what that is so many people. Look, I mean, the surgery is probably a lot safer today than it used to be, but I have heard unbelievable stories from people who either have been through the surgery themselves or their loved ones have been through the surgery. And, at best, even if it's successful, you're going to put your body through a whole lot of trauma. And of course, there's always the risk. And the worst case scenario is, of course, the worst is people really can get sick. But the other thing is the horrible tragedy of gaining all the way back.
Hmm.
So what I realize is that, even if you have surgery, even if you do, and some of my clients have already had bariatric surgery, unless you change anything about food, you're going to go back to the old eating habits. Exactly,
Mm.
everything that you
Mm-hmm.
did in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So what I to some people feel as if they've had the surgery, even though they really haven't. And the idea is so that they just want to eat smaller portions, healthier foods, and increase activity.
Do you hear that binging?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was like, where is that coming from? Is it just like an emphasis point? It's just like an exclamation point next to each time you're saying
Yeah,
it.
there's so much technology, and I had shut off like everything, but there's an iPad in the room, and I forgot that it's going to ding, but
Okay,
hopefully.
okay, cool. And if you actually have anything that you on your machine that you can turn off, that'd be great because you're pixelating back and forth for some reason. Okay, got it. So so the bypass, as you were saying, sorry, the bell
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
distracted me, but the gastric bypass hypnosis is something that people are having the surgery with mixed results. And so,
right.
what's the hypnosis that you
So
offer?
the hypnosis, I actually guide people. I'm just shutting one thing off. I'm actually guiding people through a surgery, but it's not a real surgery. Of course, it's virtually and in hypnosis. So I guide my clients. They meet the doctor, they meet the nurse, they go into that medical setting, but it's very, very pleasant.
Right.
I mean, it's really pleasant because the focus isn't, on the mechanics of it. The idea is that they go through that and they feel very, very empowered. Because now, I mean, think really, even when someone's had the surgery, they still have to change the way they eat. So
Mm,
we're bypassing the need for an actual surgery because we're putting that surgery, the idea in the mind, as if you've had the surgery. You don't really need to have the surgery because now you can start to feel like your stomach's smaller, you're happier with less food, you're happier with healthier foods, and just increasing activity. So
interesting.
yeah, it's been great. I mean, I've had clients lose over 100 pounds just going through the hypnosis surgery.
And I've actually have a dear friend of mine who is a great NLP person, and I'd say, okay, can you hypnotize me to like go to sleep soundly because my sleep is awful, and she would do that, and it would work for a couple weeks, and then like I would forget, my sleep would be resolved, and then like a couple months later I'd come back. So with this gastric bypass hypnosis, is it something that you have to keep on doing recurrently?
Um,
Is a hypnosis something that
yeah,
you have to do
the
several
thing is that
times?
keep reinf- the idea is to reinforce it. So I always, I mean, I will never do hypnosis with anybody without giving reinforcement material
Okay.
because that is the key.
What's
So
the
the
reinforcement mean?
Well, just even if you're only practicing self hypnosis 10, 15 minutes a day, it's really important because think about it all day long, we're getting messages from the environment,
Uh,
and these messages don't support us most of the time. So, what I'm doing is really giving a person a message that's really going to help them for the rest of their life to achieve the goals that they want to.
okay. So it's not that I go into your office, you give me hypnosis, and it's done. Every day after that, I may have like a little 15-minute meditation where you're like reminding me that I just had the gastric. But let's have a meeting with Rena. Here's Rena's reminder. Make sure you care.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. So there's
Well,
reinforcement.
I tell you the amazing thing, CJ, is there are people that have come to me and I just do the hypnosis even one time and it does change their life. They walk out of the room, they never smoke again
Wow.
or able to lose weight. I would always provide reinforcement, a CD or, download. But sometimes I've had people, because I've been doing this so long now, I've had people come back to me after 10, 15 years and say, no, I never used the reinforcement. So it's possible, but I'm such a firm believer in reinforcement
Right.
you know, everything that we're doing. And same with you, like walking every day, yeah, you could skip a day. It's not really a problem. But once you skip it one day and then the next day and then the next day, next thing you know, you're out of the habit.
Habit. Yeah. All right. So you also talk about a couple other things that I just love. You talk about sugar canceling recipes and CBD. So I want to make sure we have enough time for that. So tell me about, gosh, we only have 10 minutes. What do you think listeners would enjoy more? Or do we have time to talk about both a little
Yeah,
bit?
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the sugar canceling recipes are in the book, Easy Sugar Breakup, which is available on Amazon.com. And I included them. I mean, I actually just added that chapter because it's so important to realize healthy food can taste absolutely delicious. So
Mm.
many people are used to the dieting mentality and they're so used to eating bland, horrible diet food as opposed to, really healthy, delicious, clean, whole food from the earth. So this chapter gives lots and lots of amazing ideas for eating healthy meals. And here's the best part. They're easy and quick,
Oh,
because
good.
everything these days, yeah, I mean, believe me, I know I don't want to spend more time in the kitchen. I mean, I did years ago, but now I want to
Yeah.
be in
No
and out of
thanks. Yeah.
the kitchen. Yeah,
I
exactly.
thought you were
So
going to talk about something like this. So I don't know if this is just like hogwash, but and then I'm not going to put the brand on, but this is kombucha. And someone said to me, I said, "Well, there's a lot of sugar in here. It says like 9 grams of sugar for this too. This is like 2 servings, right? So this is really 18 grams of sugar in here, right? Which I'm almost halfway through." And they said, "Oh no, but that's like what happens is the kombucha has other things that eat up the sugar." I'm like, "What?
yeah, I know.
Is
That's
that
why I think look, one man's meat is another man's poison, literally.
right?"
So I wish I had a picture to show you. I'm actually drinking my Slender cider, which
Yeah.
I don't have the bottle in here, but I created Slender cider and then the CBD Super cider. They're in a base of organic apple cider vinegar
Yeah.
with pure cherry concentrate and amazing herbal formulas. And you can either mix them with water or the CBD Super cider. You can just take a shot.
Yeah.
I actually have an option for free. So I don't know if you want to put up the link, but I even have
Yes.
renasorganic.com/free where I'm
Right.
giving away free plus shipping
Wow. Okay,
a
cool.
bottle of CBD Super Cider because I really want people to try it. But
Okay.
it's great formula to help balance the blood sugar and help cut cravings physically because it also alkalizes and cleanses. And then,
Mm.
of course, CBD I'm using, which I will talk about in a second, is a full spectrum, really high quality
Okay,
CBD.
got it. So the super salad cider is basically helps. What is it doing then again? What?
Okay, so the CBD Super Cider, the Slender Cider has no CBD in it, and you
Okay.
just mix it with water or in a bottle and sip it throughout the day, and it helps alkalize and cleanse. And people say it really cuts the cravings for sure.
Oh, interesting. Okay, got it.
Salty foods really cuts those cravings.
Okay.
So that I created, and that's at my website, theeasywillpower.com, and
Okay.
also Slender Cider.
Okay, got it.
Then I have CBD Super Cider because when you asked me to talk about the CBD, and the reason I included it in a whole chapter in my book, Easy Sugar Breakup, is I see so many people out there getting ripped off by, CBD and all the marketing hype, and they're not knowing what to look for when they buy it. So potency is important. Also, what's really important is that it's USA grown from the seeds. Often the people are
Hmm.
importing the seeds from overseas, but then they might be not that clean because they may not be organically cultivated
Mm,
the way Colorado grown CBD is.
good.
Another distinction is full spectrum. I have people sending me their bottles from all over and saying, Rena, read this label. What do you think? And I'm amazed how even medical doctors often are selling CBD and probably unknowingly they're selling isolate, which is just a chemical isolated portion of the plant as opposed to full spectrum that has all cannabinoids in it. So I'm really passionate about wanting people, if they're going to spend their hard-earned money on CBD, to get really high quality, high
Okay.
potency. And I love that my customers say they really can tell the difference,
And
even with their
what does
pets.
the
I have a
CBD do? I know that CBD helps with inflammation. It
yeah.
also helps with stress. What else is CBD doing?
Well, sleep. You mentioned,
Yeah,
sleep
sleep.
is wonderful for sleep, and the U.S. military uses it for PTSD, which
Mm,
is really helps with anxiety, inflammation. So, for example, I have 1,000 milligram pain cream, very very high potency for pain conditions, arthritis, all kinds. My 92-year-old mother just loves it, and people that
good.
have tried all kinds of creams, they really can tell the difference. And then the CBD Super Cider is unique because it has those weight loss components as well and really helps with
Ah, I see. So you're getting like two things. So the CBD is not necessarily for weight loss. It's just for the stress reduction.
homeostasis. It helps balance. You asked a great question. What does CBD do? In the late 1980s, early 1990s, scientists discovered that the body has its own endocannabinoid system, which is a system of, from head to toe of receptor cells, and then the cannabinoids bind to those receptor cells and send messages throughout the body.
Hmm.
So CBD affects how we think, how we eat, how we talk, our memory, all aspects because it is throughout the body.
Hmm.
It's the high quality CBD that helps to increase the amount of cannabinoid in the body, which then is what creates that sense of balance.
Okay. So the sense of balance is kind of like I'm whole, I'm balanced, I'm not stressed. I'm not going to run over to get my little treat at the end of the day because so a lot of those things are stress related. Is that how it's connected to the eating piece?
Well, CBD in itself, yes. And the CBD super cider, and especially, well, yeah, the CBD super cider, for example, I have apple cider vinegar, organic, of course, raw. So right there, that's alkalizing, that's changing the pH. It's also in a base of pure cherry concentrate. And so that also has a lot of polyphenols. It's great for the
Mm,
heart. Also has a lot of weight loss components.
right.
And then the herbs that I'm using are also strong cannabinoid herbs that also help with metabolism, digestion, appetite.
Okay, got it. Now the CBD, I've been told there needs to be an activating ingredient with it because I assume THC is not in this product that you're selling. So is there an active ingredient?
Yeah, that's actually a great point. So full spectrum CBD it has less than 0.3% THC, and that does activate it. That's why when you get CBD and
Uh,
it's just plain isolated, it's not activated. So
uh,
spectrum CBD means it has all the cannabinoids, all the terpenes, which are plant essential oils, which are activating the CBD. And then the other cannabinoid herbs in my blend also help activate the CBD, and they
uh,
logistically.
Okay, but then how, so if you actually have less than 3%, so I actually had these creams that had their CBD with less, like very small percentages, like the smallest percentage of CBD in order to be activated. And they took them, and the people at the border are like, "Do you have any of this stuff?" I'm like, "Well, I have the cream." And they're like, "Okay, now we're gonna have to drag you away and take all these items away." I was like, "What?" It's like, it has like less than 3%. So how are you able to sell these things?
Well, CBD that's full spectrum is less than 0.3% THC, and
Uh,
basically that's considered to be THC free.
it
You know,
is. Oh,
legally
I
and
see.
legally you can travel anywhere in the United States. I mentioned to you before we went on the air, I had just gone to Alaska and I took all my CBD with me and it was fine. None of it was
I don't know if
confiscated.
you can go internationally because when I'm traveling on the Camino, I've thought about taking my CBD creams, but then I thought the best ones are the ones like you said that have like the small amounts, but then I don't know if you can travel internationally with it.
Yeah, actually, I just had a young man who went to Israel and took he took a little bit of the CBD cream. I think he had transferred it though, just because he wanted to only
Yeah.
take a small amount, because a little bit goes a long way. And this is
Yeah.
the 1,000 milligram. A lot of the CBD creams out there only have like 100, 200 milligrams. So
Right.
mine is 1,000. So it's a huge difference. But yeah, it was fine because it's different. There's no prescription necessary. It's not
Right.
considered medical marijuana at
Right.
all.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to figure out before I travel like what things are legal or not because that was tormenting when I went to Canada and they're like, yes, like I was a drug smuggler. I'm like, it's just CBD oil with a little bit of THC, like the smallest amount that you need in order to activate it. And they're like, nope, can't bring that across. So I don't know if it was. I'm not sure what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
People were clamoring. What is the website again for people who want to try um, the um, the CBD super cider. That's the thing that you're going to be
Yeah.
shipping to
That's
people.
great. Absolutely. Oh, but it's free plus shipping. I want to clarify.
Okay,
So they
yes.
are
Okay.
going to pay a nominal shipping fee.
Yeah, okay. So
So
t
it's Rena's, Renas,
uh-huh.
Rena's organic.com and then slash free, FREE.
Okay, I just put it Rena S organic slash free.
Rena'sorganic.com slash free. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
got it. Okay, cool. All right, so folks can actually get some of that stuff. They have to pay for the shipping, but you'll actually ship the cider over. The
Yeah.
CBD super cider. And what's the milligram? Is it 1,000 milligrams of full spectrum
No, that,
CBD?
that was the pain cream. So in
Uh,
a regular size bottle of CBD super cider, it's 400 milligrams full spectrum CBD and 40 grams of the cannabinoid herbal formula, which works with it.
oh, nice.
The bottle is a 1 ounce, and in the 1 ounce will be 50 milligrams full spectrum CBD, plus the other blend.
Okay, well, I'm going to go online and get a sample. So that's exciting.
I can't wait to hear how you like it.
Yes. Okay. And so you actually have a website, which is it renasorganic.com?
For the CBD, and then the whole hypnosis and weight loss that I've been doing for a long time is Easy Willpower, EASY
Uh-huh.
willpower.com.
Okay, cool. So we can get both of those pieces. If people want to actually do the bypass
Yeah.
meditation with you, that's something they can do via Skype.
Oh, I work with people all over the world on
Okay,
Skype,
got it. Okay,
Europe,
cool.
in Asia, all over.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. So they could actually book an appointment with you and get the bypass surgery and all the reinforcements that are part of that.
absolutely. Yeah. And I even have at-home programs so people don't have to work with me if they don't want to. I have at-home systems that are all download and
Excellent.
easy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We've been talking to Rena Greenberg about her book, Easy Sugar Breakup: Break the Habits and Addictions That Control You. Thank you so much. It's very
Thank
interesting.
you. It was wonderful to chat with you. Thank you.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.